So we're good. No homework questions so far. All right. Both of y'all have a note sheet, yes? All right. Looks like he's missing note sheet. Okay. If there's no questions on the homework assignments, we're going to go on and get started. Now, what we're looking at today is equations of lines. Linear lines specifically, but that's also a line. And there's different forms that the equations can come in. We have slope-intercept form, point-slope form, and there is a form called two-point form. I will write it up here, but it's not one that's going to be overly useful or want to use. So the first one we have is slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. If I did set it up for 3 days, it would be massive, the assignment. Yeah. Okay, at least maybe 2. We get 5 minutes. So let's look at these here. So using slope-intercept form is the first version or first equation of a line that we're going to look at here. Y equals mx plus b. Now the main reason they call it slope-intercept form is, well, this equation has m, which is the slope, and b is the y-intercept. So they call it slope-intercept form because it has a slope and intercept. And if we graph a line, this is normally the equation we'll get it into to be able to graph it. Now the second way that we can write an equation of a line is one that's going to be helpful is point-slope form. Part of the reason we call it point-slope form is, one, we have the slope, and the other part is we are given a point to plug it in. So we call this form point-slope form. And these two here are going to be the most useful equations, guys, ways to graph a line or find the equation of a line. Now the other piece we need is the slope formula. M is our y2 minus y1, or x2 minus x1. It's our change in y over the Not good. It could also be a canker sore. Sugar. Because if sugar or excess amount of sugar gets stuck somewhere in your mouth, it will cause a sore. Any questions on these two forms or equations for equations of lines? Now we do have another form. We could call it two-point form, which are y minus y1 equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Yes, now we don't normally use two-point form. I wouldn't use two-point form because that is a lot to try to plug in and figure out. You're better off, instead of using this form, just finding out the value of slope and using point slope. Because that's all it was just plugging in the formula for slope into the whole equation. Now, if we are given 2 points, really what we just need to do is find the slope, use point slope form, and go from there. Let's look at our first example problem. This one here. Yes.
Are those x's or y's?
So those would be, so y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x. There might be more later. I don't know if there's any left on that one.
I'm gonna get a lot of them. Did you give him our actually?
Yes.
Okay, it's right here.
Thank you.
Austin says he sent it. I don't remember it.
Yeah.
Watermelon.
Quickly.
Watermelon?
What is that?
I don't know. Something with point. Is this algebra 2?
Yes.
Why not?
Because this we did the first 2 weeks.
Because I was gonna am I going to use this at college?
Oh, I remember doing that.
All right, guys. What we're going to do first is find the equation of a line for this graph here and interpret the slope. And that's really just using words to describe what the slope is telling us. Then, the asteroid came within 17,200 miles of Earth in February 2013. About how long does it take it to travel that far? Then we want to see how long does it take this asteroid to travel 17,200 miles. So we are given a graph. And one of the things we're needing to find first is the equation of line. So y equals mx plus b is one form we can use, or our y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Now, one of the nice things about this graph is it did give us 2 points, one directly, kind of one indirectly. The directly point that they gave us was 524. So they put a dot and said 524. What is the other point that they gave us on this graph? 0, because when x is 0, the value of y is 0. So they didn't specifically give us a point and say 0, 0, but it does intersect the graph at the point 0, 0. So we do have 2 points. This here's just a point on the graph, but this other point is the x and y intercept. It's considered an x-intercept when the value of y at that point is 0, and it's an and a y-intercept when the x value is. Now, the other piece that we need is the slope. So that's our y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So what is one of our 2 y values for this problem? So that's an xy. 5 is the x, 24 is the. So we could put the 24 first and the 5 first. Because given 2 points, it really doesn't matter which y value we put first, we just have to pick one of them. But whatever y value goes first, its corresponding x value has to go first. Now the other y value we said that we had was, and its corresponding x value is 0. Well, 24 minus 0 is 24. And 5 minus 0 is, so the slope is 24 over 5. If we converted this to a decimal, it would be 4.8. So now there's 2 ways we can describe this slope. One of them is by the 24 over 5, and the other is by 4.8. Because the 24 over 5 tells us for every 5 seconds, it travels how far? 24 miles. Now we could use the 4.8, but 4.8 is for every second because we divided it simplified down. So for every second, it's traveling 4.8 miles. But for every 5 seconds, it's traveling 24. Either one works, as long as you get the units matched up correctly. Because if you said for every 5 seconds it travels 4.8 miles, that wouldn't be the correct one. But if we said for every second it travels 4.8 miles, that would be correct. Now we just need to plug our information in. Now we can write in, oh, I erased the 24 over 5x, because we plugged in our slope. What's the value of b going to be? What's the y value at the y-intercept? So we could put plus 0, but that's really just this here. That's our equation. There is another way we can write this equation. Because we can also write it as y equals 4.8x. Either one of them will work. Any questions? I already found the equation of line. We good with finding the equation of line? All right. Now the last part it asks for is how long did it take for it to travel 17,200 miles? Now looking at the equation, x or y, which one is going to be our distance? It is. Why? Because if we look at the y-axis is our, and our x-axis is our time. So if we want to know time, we're solving for x. And we can plug 17,200 in for y in our equation. Now we just need to solve for x. Is there any chance that the value of x is going to be 10? No, I mean, we're trying to make 4.8 become 17,200. It's going to take a little bit longer than that. Now, what do we need to do to get x by itself? By? Yeah, we can. We can multiply by 5 over what? Yeah. Because we can multiply by the reciprocal. And we can pull out a calculator to see this. Because if we said 24 over 5 is being multiplied by 5 over 24, we get 1. That's our identity property multiplication. So these would simplify to 1, leaving us with just x. However, what we do to one side, we have to do to the other. So we have to multiply 17,200 by 5 over 24, which gives us 3,583 and 1/3 seconds. It's how long it takes it to travel 17,200 miles. It'd be kind of nice to be able to travel at that speed, wouldn't it? At 4.8, and this is miles per second. Yeah, because, let's see here, let's see, 6, 36, 8, carry the 4, 8. Yeah, it's about 288 miles per hour. Well, actually, I think it's going to be faster than that. Miles per second times it by 60, 4.8. Well, no, that's miles per minute. 60. You're traveling about 17,280 miles per hour. Well, they're actually talking about an asteroid. Apparently, asteroid 2012 DA14. How long it took it to travel 17,000 miles. Now, if we did convert this, I did convert this second hour, it works out to be about an hour. So it takes about an hour to travel 17,200 miles. Let's look at the next one. Oh, that's farther. The graph shows the remaining balance on Y on a car loan after making X monthly payments. We want to find the equation of the line and interpret the slope. This time Y-intercept also, so what is the statement, what is the remaining balance? Well, we're going to need to get the equation of the line into this form, Y equals mx plus b. Now, it's going to be very nice if they gave us the y-intercept. Did they give us the y-intercept for this? Yeah, because where did it cross the y-axis at? 0, 18. The y-intercept, x value will always be 0. So they gave us the y-intercept, which is quite nice because for this equation is equal to x plus 18. The only thing we're missing is the slope, because once we find the slope, we have the equation of the line. Now our formula for slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now this one they did give us 2 points, 0, 18, 10, 15. What's one of our two y values? What's one of the two y values that we have up here? Because we're plugging in finding slope. So we have 2 points, 0, 18, 10, 15. Give me one of those two y values. It is xy. Yeah. And the other one is 15. Because this is just x, y, x, y. Now we have to put the corresponding x value for 18 first, which is 0, and the other one is 10. Now at this point here, we could plug this all into the calculator, which will just tell us that we have 3 over negative 10, or negative 3/10, or negative 0.3. All of those are saying the exact same thing, yes? But what that's telling us, if we interpret the slope, because the top is how much money? 3, and the bottom is the number of months. So we're saying for every, we'll always do x first, every 10 payments, the balance goes, what, up or down? Down. We'd hope it'd go down, wouldn't it? By how much? That doesn't sound. Yeah, 0.3 would be every month. The 3 is every 10 months. Does that make sense? Because if we wanted to use the 0.3, we would say for every month, payment, or every month, the balance goes down by 0.3. Does that still not sound right? Because what is it, the balance in? Balance is in 1,000. So it's not, for every 10 payments, it's not going down just 3. It's going by 3,000. It's decreasing 3,000. But every month, is 0.3, so 0.3000 would actually be 300. Now the y-intercept is the starting amount. The y-intercept is the starting amount. Starting amount, or is original cost of the car. Is the original cost of the car. Y-intercept is the original cost of the car. So let's look at what we've done. We've written the equation of the line. We've interpreted the slope and y-intercept. The only thing left is to figure out what the remaining balance is after 36 payments. Well, the number of payments, is that the x or the y? Well, the number of payments is the x. So that means in our equation, we can replace the x value. Well, actually, negative 3/10. I forgot to put that back in. We can multiply it by 36 and add 18 to it. So we didn't actually finish the equation. We still need to put that negative 3/10 in there. So our equation is y equals negative 3/10 x plus 18. Now to find the costs currently of the car, we have this here. Now since everything on this side of the equal sign is a number, we can plug this into the calculator. Clear that out. Negative 3/10 times 36 plus 18 is 36/5, which is approximately 7.2. So we find out the remaining balance is 7.2, but again, this is in terms of thousands. So it'd be $7,200 is left after 36 payments. So after 3 years, you still have $7,200 left on the loan, which should be paid off in 5 years. Questions on any of this here? Luckily, we will do a few more, so you get the hang of it. We're ready for the next one. All right. Let's look at this one here. This one, the graph shows the distance Allison hikes in X hours. Write an equation of the line and interpret the slope. How long does it take Allison to hike 14 miles traveling at the same rate? Okay. Well, they did give us a point on the graph 7, 24.5. Well, they also technically gave us a second point, which is 0, 0. So they gave us the y-intercept. So that is helpful in finding the equation of the line, because we can use slope-intercept form because they gave us the value of b. Now the only thing we need to find at this point is the slope, because once we find the slope, then we can find the equation. So calculating the slope, what's one of our two y values? Almost. Because any point comes in the form of x comma. So one of our y values is 24 point, which means its corresponding x value is 7. Since we put 24.5 first, we have to put 7 first. Minus, what is our other point? 0, 0. So the y value is 0 and the x value is 0. Now at this point we can plug this into the calculator. Hit the fraction key, say 24.5 minus 0 over 7 minus 0, and we get 3.5. We can convert this to a decimal, or not decimal, convert it to a fraction, 7/2. It doesn't matter which one we use. So for this one here, we can leave it as 3.5. Now at this point, we can plug it back into the equation. Y is equal to 3.5x plus, what did we say our y-intercept value was? 0. So I could put plus 0. Does that add anything to it? No. So really all we have is it's here. That 0 is not included. Now the next thing we need to do is interpret the slope. So the y-axis tells us that time in hours. So for every hour, Allison hikes how far? .5 miles. Any questions on this so far? I don't know about Allison, but I hope she's not going out hiking today. Now, let's see what the question is. Okay. How long does it take Allison to hike 14 miles traveling at the same rate? So again, so x or y is our distance. It is y, guys. So to figure this out, we're going to do 14 is equal to 3.5x. And to get x by itself, we would divide both sides by 3.5. Because 3.5 divided by 3.5 is 1, leaving us with just 1x. But the last thing we need to do is divide 14 over 3.5, or 14 divided by 3.5 is 4. So how long does it take her to hike 14 miles? Takes her 4 hours. Any questions on any of this here? All right, we'll pick this up tomorrow.